15 love.
And a warm welcome to Josh Eagle, who's courtside. Always a special occasion watching Novak.
Yeah, it's just different, isn't it? Every time he walks onto the court, there's a real buzz, there's a silence here. I'm afraid to talk up because it's a big night, isn't it, for everyone involved? But a wonderful occasion for Basavareddy. This is what you want. No better learning opportunity than to play the greatest. You know, I think he's the greatest of all time. This is a real learning curve. This is so invaluable in your journey. So for me, I think he'd be really happy with his draw.
You know, I think not only has he got Novak down there, this is a massive court. The size of the court is something that you don't play on as a young player. It's a huge area out there on Rod Laver Arena. So sometimes that gets it takes a bit of time to get used to the surroundings and the feel. Doesn't feel normal.
14-15.
And by the way, the whole world is watching you.
Djokovic doing what Djokovic does.
First game.
Such a good change of direction there from Novak.
Just got a feeling that most people who are invested in this match right now, including a lot of the crowd, we're all nervous. We're nervous to see what happens. We're nervous for this young man. We want him to be okay. I wonder how Novak would have, you know, communicated to him beforehand, or whether he did at all, or whether he...
No, I don't think he did. I think there was just when they did the coin toss, that's when he sort of looked at him and said, hello.
Yeah.
So that whole walk of champions, there was separation, and no, I think that was the first time.
Well, as a competitor first, if you're Novak, you know, you don't give an inch, and that's part of the process. If you put your arm around a young guy and say, you'll be okay, son, you know, I'll look after you, it's not good for your end of the court.
Left second service.
Here's Brian Smith on the left. Nishant, his brother, who's been travelling with him a fair bit. He went to Indiana University.
15-30.
His dad's also spent a few weeks on the road with him.
That's good. That'll give him some confidence.
30 all.
It's going to be hard to hold serve, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's at the good end. The wind is coming slightly down the court behind Nishesh's end, so he's just getting a little bit of extra help, a little bit of extra pop. So if he could just hold serve, gosh, that would feel great.
So, from a young player, I nearly said junior, but he's not.
40.
But he's close. He's 19 years of age. From a young player, that's the type of thing you see more often than an established player. Just for no reason at all. And there's the Newport Beach birthplace. I spent 5 years based in Newport Beach. What a beautiful part of the world. South of Los Angeles. Had 2 of my children born there.
I believe property prices went up substantially after you left.
When I left.
Oh, this man's owned this bit of valuable real estate 10 times already. And he doesn't miss too many of those. Just a little bit late getting behind that one. Well, as much as people feeling as though Basavareddy doesn't have a big enough serve to get enough free points, Novak generally chops down the big servers as well. So maybe just having a serve that can set up the point like this is going to be as effective.
Cain. Basavareddy.
Well, that will make him feel better. Fantastic start for the youngster.
Now, this is the one where Novak ended up just putting his hand knuckle down on the ground as he was sliding across.
Not sure there was much in that, Mark. Might have banged his knuckles a little bit. Didn't break skin, I don't think.
Long.
Mark, what's your thoughts with Andy Murray? I know you've actually coached Andy Murray yourself. What are you expecting tonight with his interaction? He's sitting courtside here, so he's in one of those 4 box seats courtside. What are you expecting from his sort of interaction with Novak tonight?
I'm expecting there will be some. I don't think it will be a massive amount. They obviously have talked out the details of how they want it to work. I know Brad Stein, who works with us on the World Feed and is looking after Tommy Paul today, was talking about how when the coaching rule came in, it took him and Tommy a couple of tournaments to kind of find their sweet spot with the sort of rules and how to utilize them to the best. And that'll probably be a little bit tonight for Andy.
Gee, I like the way he steps into the forehand, so he takes a bit of space away there.
15.
Goes inside the baseline when he sees the opportunity, and so he's behind the baseline there. This drops short and he goes straight inside, and that allows him to have more chance to hit a winner. In he goes. Good court awareness for a young player.
15. left for service.
You don't win 28 matches out of 34 at the challenger level without being incredibly solid and having something just a little bit special. It may not be glaringly obvious in these opening 3 games, but this 19-year-old is a little special.
Game Djokovic.
Djokovic passes his second test on serve, and he leads 2-1.
Djokovic leads 2 games to 1.
Novak settling into his stride as this man comes out into very unfamiliar territory. And that was a big opening hole to serve. Look how long his eyes stayed on that ball.
Mark, just quickly, I'm interested in why you call him the greatest player of his generation. You think he's not the greatest of all time?
Well, I just think it's very difficult to judge because, you know, Grand Slams are played on, 3 were on grass and 1 was on clay. If 3 had been on clay in this era, Rafa would have been the king of stats. So he's undisputedly the king of this generation.
Thank you.
Fair call.
Time.
Only once lost to a player outside the world's top 100 at a Grand Slam in the course of his illustrious career, Novak, and there is confirmation of all those titles that he has. And that was against Islam here, of course, back in 2017. He was the only player outside of the world's top 100 that he's lost to. He did lose to a player outside the world's top 100 last year, Lucas Nardi, of course, at Indian Wells in a surprise upset.
In the 13 minutes so far, he's handled himself well. You cannot say he hasn't, I think, and
Love 15.
all power to him. There's a lot of new things happening tonight to him, though. His first ever best-of-5 set match. And exponentially, you know, the difficulty factor of a 5-setter compared to a 3-setter is, you know, there's a big J curve there. So it's all new.
Love 30.
And of course, we talk about how players maintain level over periods of time. The better player they are, the better they maintain their level without the, you know, the peaks and valleys, particularly the valleys that occur. He likes that shot. But for the younger player, that's more likely to occur.
15,
So you're more likely
30.
to drop off for a period of time when you don't have the experience, the vast experience that his opponent has. We will see. But he tends to like that. He likes moving through that forehand on that wing, cutting the angle off to a degree. And he's hit some nice winners already there. That's good stuff. Good stuff. Go, young man. That's really good to see. Excellent volley. So he's got an all-court game, obviously. Beautiful volley there. And he didn't do anything more than he had to. And not a bad put away either. That was not easy.
Decent pace, 192, but more important was the location.
Left for service.
Oh, the full repertoire. How's that for settling down?
And 2 games all.
Do you think the guys in that box know how good these first couple of games have been? I'm sure they do, but you've got to admit his choice of shot is pretty mature. Great choice there.
So good.
Love 15.
And that is right out of the Djokovic playbook. He talked openly about those months away from being able to play with injuries when he was a young teenager. He's still a teenager, and how much tennis he watched and how quickly that furthered his development.
On.
Are you not entertained already?
At 15-13.
That's good stuff. I was lost for words there, really. I mean, he's playing some stuff in the first few games that I didn't really expect, Mark, I've got to admit. And I know I'm sitting with the Dan Maskell of Melbourne Park here too, by the way. And I think that name might stick for those of you that can't remember the voice of Wimbledon. And we're having fun.
Clutch response from the 10-time champion.
Well, the fact that he's still with Novak at 2-2 in the first set might just throw Novak's good thoughts out the window for a young player who needed a bit of support. He'll be getting ready to really knuckle down now.
Deuce.
Just getting a sense that he's not feeling 100% at the moment at the back of the court there, Novak, on the last couple of points.
Yeah, we've seen him just take a few deep breaths and not totally comfortable. I'm sure he probably wasn't expecting this barrage early on as well. It's been a great start for Basavareddy. He's really made it physical right from the start. He's got some wheels, hasn't he, Basavareddy? He's athletic and packs a punch. Doesn't look very, strong physically compared to some of the modern day players, but boy, he can unleash on a forehand. So we're in for a show tonight.
You wouldn't expect his heaviness of shot, Josh, to be
absolutely
as much, but
yeah, it's a big ball.
Right.
It really is. We'll get the stats as this match goes on. I'm sure, like, we'll get to see the speed difference, but it seems like it's right up there. His top end is good.
Excellent second serve. Plenty of movement off the bounce. Basavareddy unable to catch up with it. Serb's happy.
Djokovic
happy. 3-2. Rajiv Ram joining proceedings here. Of course, former world #1 in doubles, 4-time Grand Slam champion in the men's doubles, 3 times at the US Open with Joe Salisbury. Of course, a champion here back in 2020 in also a couple of mixed doubles down under. It has been a very successful hunting ground for Rajiv Ram. Also a man that has been a mentor for Nishesh in terms of the college route that he went to. University of Illinois, where, of course, the CEO of Tennis Australia, Craig Tiley, was the coach of for many years. Welcome back, and welcome to Rajiv Ram, who's sitting in Nishesh's box, former world #1 doubles player. Also had a big impact, of course, on Basavareddy's career. Rajiv Ram Foundation handed out Basavareddy a $5,000 grant when he was struggling a little bit back in 2020 with the performances he'd put in. So credit to Rajiv, who's also been guiding this 19-year-old through the potential pitfalls of professional tennis.
Net for service.
well, luck is good as long as it's not bad
Luck
luck.
15.
And as a young player in this situation, you don't want too much of that.
Got a nice little bump up out of the futures nice and quickly because of the tie-up between the ATP and ITA College Accelerator program. Depending on your ranking, you get the opportunity to get some main draw wildcards at Challengers $75,000 events. And $50,000. You can get almost up to 8 of those, and that's something that he utilized so superbly last year. Those opportunities split between the main draw, people that are ranked in the top 10 in college, and then the others go into qualifying who are between 11 and 20. There's a whole host of other things that I won't bore you with, but that starts on the 1st of July each year. And of course, the ATP Next Gen Accelerator program also rewards players who are
15.
aged 20 and below, which of course Nishesh is, and ranked inside the world's top 50 by giving them a main draw wildcard into one ATP 250 tournament. So the tour's doing a really nice job of trying to get some of these younger players out of the trenches faster.
Basavareddy.
You remember last year, Jakub Mensik, who knocked out Andrei Rublev in Dubai. That was a bit of a shock to everybody. Rublev going through a bit of a tough time, but his decision, Fitzy, as a good teenager, to decide whether to go to Doha or Dubai was because of the phone that he was going to get. A nice free phone. It's a good reason to go to one tournament or the other.
Cut it out. Yeah. They're the throwback days, aren't they? It's funny. His composure is pretty exceptional, I've got to say.
Love 15.
And his spatial awareness of the rectangle, of what he can do, where he can be protected, what speed of shot to hit is also impressive.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, under the choice of shot, how hard to hit it. He chooses the right shot a lot of the time, doesn't he? And with his heart rate as high as it would be, that's impressive.
For service.
Maybe a 19-year-old doesn't experience nerves these days. Is Novak okay down there, Josh? What do you think?
I'm not so sure. We've seen Novak's wife there. Look, I think he just seems possibly a little bit frustrated, and we know he hasn't played this season yet in a live match, so that always has got to take its toll and feel a little different. But I definitely think Basavareddy has stunned him with his performance and his form. It's been a great start from the young 19-year-old, and maybe just caught Novak off guard a little.
Oh, he's tagged it on the line. And not only has he introduced the ball to the line, but he's introduced himself to 3 break points. This is special.
$15, 40.
Oh, yes, sir. Goodness me. He's caught us all off guard. And it's understated in the box. Impressive start from the youngster.
He's 4 games to 3.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot to be said for good advertising for US college tennis. I mean, they have produced some really great players. I know there's some limitations with it in terms of your ability to maybe make technical changes there, but boy, oh boy, if you're not quite ready to get out on the tour as Basavareddy wasn't, you get to play so many matches in so many high pressurized situations at the top of the line, needing to pick up the point for your side, that you deliver when it matters.
Well, I think Bazza is ready now.
He is definitely ready. I mean, how good was that to sense that that was the moment that was going to get a slower second serve into his two-hander? He was just sitting on it.
And yeah, it's the choice of shot and the situation that has been more impressive than him actually hitting the ball.
Well, it may have been a slightly lower level than this, but he did pick up 49 match wins last year. His decision to go pro was determined by the fact he got the wild card into Australia, but also because he qualified for the next gen in Saudi Arabia. And of course, one of the weird things about college tennis right now is your image rights. You can make as much money off that as you like. You're seeing football players in the US getting contracts that are close to sort of $3 million, but you can't pick up the prize money. So Nishesh, by the time he was just kind of getting on the outside of the world's top 100, decided that was the moment to make the move. Lots of money on offer in Saudi Arabia and here, of course. Never going to be easy to consolidate your break against the greatest returner of a tennis sport. But Josh, you were asking to see just where Basavareddy was sitting in terms of pace. That's it. And it's not too bad. Just a K slower off the backhand side and a couple of Ks down on the forehand.
I would not have expected him after that return of serve to win that point. Against most players, that play would have won Novak the point.
15-30.
But the defensive skills followed up by the reversal sort of that point was, yep, as good as he's done all night, I think. And as you'd expect, surely you'd have to be breathing a little hard. But I think the champ is too, a little bit.
All. At 30-40.
It's amazing how many times he has had Novak outside the singles line. You would have thought Novak was going to dominate from the center and be sort of redistributing the ball all over, but it hasn't been the case.
There's a lot of this that doesn't add up to me, though. I'll explain in a second. Oh, good choice of shot again. Gee, that's good.
Is it starting to add up yet?
Well, you know, from the back of the court, I don't quite understand it. I mean, you talk about of a generation and who he's beaten from the back and who hasn't been able to beat him from the back, and yet for one set here, a 19-year-old comes onto the scene and nearly does. Just not convinced, Josh. I might need your help, but not totally convinced Novak's played a set that he'd want to remember. It's just a little bit below, isn't it?
Oh, I'm not so sure.
Really?
No. I think you're being a bit harsh there, Fitzy. You need to lift your attitude, mate. Come on. This guy's playing unbelievable, this youngster.
Well, I don't doubt that, and I think his shot selection's been incredible.
No, I think, look, you know, maybe he's not at his absolute best, Novak, but the ball striking's been pretty good. It's been clean. Yeah, he has been gesturing a little bit when he walks back deep at the court, as if, you know, with his breath, and we'll see how that transpires physically. But I think, Fitzy, that Basavareddy has forced this level of play from Novak. He's been awfully good right from the word go.
Yeah, well, look, I'm not questioning that at all. I mean, it's quite extraordinary. I mean, he's got my attention and everyone else's, and Novak's, by the way. But like that last forehand that's not normal either, that we just saw him miss.
The service.
One way or the other, it is one great effort for a young kid to come out here and do this in the first set, even just to get to 5-3.
Murali Krishna, his dad, next to Rajiv in the back there. Wanted to stay with Toyota when he was moved out of California across to Indiana, which is how he ended up in Rajiv's neck of the woods. And as I said, was traveling a little bit with his son last year as he hit the pro circuit for the first time. Carmel High in Indiana have produced a couple of world-class tennis players.
$15.
Charlie Gomez, who's been a part of Novak's team now for a long time, is down in Marbella, which of course where Andy and Novak did about 10 days pre-season together alongside Andy Murray.
$13. 40 love.
He certainly has some body language that's a bit annoyed, though, hasn't he, Novak?
Oh. 40-15.
For a 19-year-old, the tennis IQ is through the roof.
Djokovic.
Sweet finish to the 9th game, but it has been a difficult first 3/4 of an hour for the world number 7.
Basavareddy, he's 1 games to 4.
And let's just look at why it's been a little bit tricky for him. Something that Novak, I'm sure, wouldn't have been expecting to be in was the forehand corner, and as out wide as that, but more importantly, the infrequent amount of times he's been able to turn around that situation and actually come back and win the point. You can see that every single time Basavareddy has got the ball outside of the singles line, he's able to win the point, and that will be something that would be a bit of a concern for Novak. He would be expecting to win the majority of the baseline exchanges. Basavareddy is doing a nice job of just dissecting that singles line as we take a little look over the top, and I'm sure many of those fans looking up at the big screens right now. Another hugely popular day, day 2 of the Australian Open, and so far so good in terms of the weather. It's been a day of soaring hopes for so many of the players. None more so than this man, having to idle the jets for the majority of the day before getting out here on the Rod Laver Arena for the biggest match of his life. So far he has managed everything magnificently.
Love 15. 15-30.
Started off the match just fighting to compete and stay on level terms. Now he has something to lose for the very first time.
Left for service.
Cut that fine.
Well, that may well win him the first set.
30 all.
Just catching the outside whisker of that line might be the difference.
A 30-40.
Djokovic making the 19-year-old earn it physically and emotionally. Basavareddy with a beautiful second serve, and again deceptive pace consistently. 162 Ks, that is a good number consistently to pop it in, but that one coming in at 173 just caught Djokovic unawares.
Advantage, Basavareddy.
Third ace brings up the first set point.
Cain, first set, Basavareddy.
Remarkable.
6-4.
Unbelievable. Incredible. What a set of tennis.
$15 love.
Well, he's ticked the boxes, of course, Basavareddy, in terms of their smart madam, his agent, Just on Yelena's side there, but he's ticked the boxes in the technical and strategic point of view. The one thing that's going to get tested as this match goes on is the physicality. Is he ready to play 3-4 hours with Novak?
Left for service. Love. Djokovic.
Clean start. He'll be hoping to show his opponent a clean set of heels as he goes through this second set.
Second set.
It's not a bad little sort of chiseling out of the percent from the win predictor, which doesn't often show a lot of empathy, but he has taken almost 20% out of Novak's chances of winning this match. And of course, this is not a stage of the tournament that he loses at too often, as he goes over to get a little bit of advice, as Josh has been asking for. Last time he lost in the opening round of a slam was against Paul Goldstein back in 2006. Of course, did lose the previous year as a qualifier to Marat Safin in the opening round. This is the only major he's lost in the first round.
Bit of a connection with Paul Goldstein there too. I'm actually not 100% sure he's still the coach of Stanford, but he certainly has been for a period of time. Good player in his own right, Paul. I hope he's watching.
The connection is real and still valid.
Good. Well, I send Goldie my best, and I'm sure all of us here do.
Yeah, Novak hasn't been particularly kind to Americans over the years in his tour level matches. 83 wins, just 11 losses, Paul being one of them.
Left for service.
Only one active American player with a win over Novak at the moment, and that's Riley Opelka.
And that was in Brisbane just 2 weeks ago. Less than.
30-15.
By making the semi-finals over in Auckland, actually became the youngest American since Riley in Atlanta back in 2016 to make a last four of a tour event.
Oh, that's special.
That's Djokovic like.
Oh my goodness. This is fun to watch. He's going to give us some joy over the next couple of years, isn't he? Maybe a lot of years.
40-15.
Let's enjoy this, Fitzy. This is very, very special, isn't it? You just remember 19. He's looked so comfortable everything that's been asked so far tonight. I'm just so impressed. His athleticism, just to even believe and to find ways where he can attack Novak, he has really been super impressive.
Oh, cool, good. I think with their own umpires, Josh, that one might have been called out by the guy down that end.
You'd think so, but I think Novak just gesturing there. He probably feels a little hard done by so far this match. There's been a few let cords and close calls have certainly gone Nishesh's way, so I think he's just gesturing upwards.
Advantage, Basavareddy.
That's another pressure point that goes his way. He has navigated those beautifully.
1 game on.
And in amongst all the creativity, it's the ability to step up to the plate in those moments that's perhaps been the most impressive. Yeah, ambassador there in the front row, Chinese actor, Turbo Lu, grossed at over $2 billion at the cinema.
Just trying to get my breath, Mark.
Yeah, that was Fitzy's salary last year. So many movies. I think one of them, the animation How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, many would have heard of.
Love. Love.
Not even walking to the next side, just a quick swivel from Novak.
At 40-15. $40-30. Djokovic.
Good advance from Djokovic, a little frustration taken out on the ball at the end of that game. Got a little closer than he would have liked. 2-1.
Djokovic leads 2 games to 1.
Again, Josh, it's those little skills that Nishesh is showing on the defense there, just making life a little uncomfortable for Novak.
Absolutely. He's got a lot of power on end range. So once you get into a cross-court rally, you can see Novak's very quick to change direction. He wants to take that down the line, which is a very difficult shot to do, but Novak does it better than anyone. But that just shows that he's not comfortable in some of these rally positions that he's finding himself in. So, yeah, it's impressive for a 19-year-old to the amount of pace he's generating, and he's got good depth as well. So, you know, technically, when you look at his forehand, it's not necessarily what you would coach, but it's repeatable with the swing, so it would really work. So, it's a fascinating start. So, a big sort of 10 or 15 minutes coming up here.
One of the most beautiful cities in the world, and it is picture perfect tonight. We're high above Melbourne Park, and we are high on the match down below. So much good action out on the court, so many competitive matches once again on day 2, and this one promising so much at this stage. Again, he's toggling through the speeds on his second serve from the slowest to the fastest. Novak not quite sure what's coming at him. Quick thinking, fleet of foot, irresistible combination, and he continues to impress.
He really does impress, but this shot should go just down the line. As soon as Novak goes there, he had to hit a winner. And this kid is quick. Very much so. So just not quite making the right choices all the time at the moment, the champion.
Well, the former champion, of course, new name last year, new reign. Novak desperate to put an 11th Australian crown on his resume.
You'll just see Andy up and about there in the picture.
30-14.
Obviously Novak on and up. This is the first time I've seen Basavareddy just take a little bit of extra. That's taking something out of him physically. These rallies are starting to be punishing.
Use.
Oh, he likes that shot, doesn't he? There's the frustration. A very interesting situation it is, isn't it?
How do you think that man's feeling on screen, Andy Murray?
I think it's time Andy did something. What do you think, Josh? I'm kidding,
Yeah,
by the way.
know.
Starting to understand what it felt like for so many other of his coaches, I'm sure. Nervous times.
Left for service.
Basavareddy on the break point serve tee at about 162 through the middle, so that he'd get a forehand return back through the middle and wouldn't open up the court like that. 148 into Novak's backhand is geometric suicide. You are going to get something that's going to put you on the back foot.
Advantage, Djokovic.
Murray, the first out of his seat. He knows how big this game is.
That's the best part for me, the times he chooses to do something like that. He picks the time. He's got Djokovic back in the court, behind the baseline, on his back foot, by the way. Way back there. Shapes to hit a forehand. Novak's backing up. Perfect choice.
Ice in his veins.
Yeah, that's on a break point.
Advantage, Basavareddy.
All the code red situations have brought the best out of the American.
Now he's touching his quads with his racket.
Left for service. Net first service. Basavareddy.
And yet somehow he scrambles to safety again on serve.
Two games all.
Murray looking for a positive reaction from Djokovic here after not being able to break through. Five break points in the match have come and gone for the world number 7.
Now.
Given the intensity of the last game and the unfamiliar sort of territory he's in out here, I wonder how wise it is to invest as much as he can from 30 love. It's dropped a little bit deeper here. Whether he likes it or not, there's going to have to be a little bit of energy conservation for the 19-year-old. Got good on the strings, just travelled a little longer than he had hoped as Djokovic travels to his chair. 3-2 ahead in this second set.
Djokovic is 3-2.
Interesting segment of the match here coming up here for Novak. Obviously, on one hand, you feel as though he's perhaps just going to start taking the legs away of his younger opponent at some stage in the next sort of 15-20 minutes if he can just lock it down, as we know he can.
Well, I think if he wins this set, there's a whole new group of thought processes that go through everyone's mind, including this young man. 5 sets is a long, long way. But he's passed every test so far.
Djokovic with a little nod of his head, and he was the first out of his chair after the fifth game of this second set, looking to get back to work on the 19-year-old serve.
Long. Left for service.
Did you hear a let down there, Josh?
I don't think so. I think I mean, I've got the electronic net cord, so that just gives a signal or a vibration to Mohammed there, so he's the man in charge. We can't go against Mohammed.
It's often the case that the player that's winning is actually doing more of the running, doing more of the work to get themselves in position. That is a substantial gap between the two, though, in terms of how much further the American has run.
I don't think I've seen a bigger disparity in numbers like that. That's extraordinary, but
yep.
he is a heck of an athlete. And what are we, just an hour and 22 in, a set and a half, and he is just, that's a big distance he's already run.
Cain, Basavareddy. New balls, please.
You don't see Djokovic miss balls like that, though. I mean, either he's been totally thrown by this young fella, or he basically is not. And hey, nothing against the opponent tonight, the 19-year-old. But he's aggravated, and he's not playing the tennis to his normal level. Now, when players get to this age, they can have some bad days. I think we all experienced it at our level.
Long.
It was interesting to watch somebody great go about their business. That was such a slow second serve on the opening point. He probably thought Basavareddy was not going to attack as the way he did when he got the break and just come in behind it, so he could get away with something a little bit slower. Then the next serve is a nice quick one on that first serve. And he has protected this seventh game very efficiently.
For service. Cain, Djokovic.
Clinical hold. And that gives him a little bridgehead to build perhaps an assault in the next game on return. 4-3 Djokovic.
Djokovic leads 4-3.
Frustrations maybe for him, but no hint of panic. He has been in these situations so many times in the course of his career where players are playing above their standard at an elevated level, and he has just waited them out.
Yeah, and even if he's not feeling 100%, that can happen in matches. You know, you come out, you don't feel on top of your game. But yeah, he's got to win this set. That's all he's thinking about, I'm sure. Get this set, and then the whole, you know, environment can change. And invariably it does.
Time.
Sitting in silence, a little spiritual serenity for Novak. Of course, he likes to go to the botanical gardens. He hasn't told anyone where that tree is that he likes to hang out with. Wouldn't even tell Zverev the other night, but he is trying to find some solutions to the problem. Murray, Josh, getting a little more vocal from the coach's end. We can pick it up on the mics.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's up and about, and you know, I think he's finding his feet as well. So it's great to see. He's just.
That's the shot I'm most impressed.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, that's not easy. He's got a very extreme grip. He closes the racket face. Look how closed it gets, and then you've got to get that open upon impact. And it's similar to Novak's, but closed, then bang. His timing has been sweet all night.
All.
Can't dish up a predictable diet to Novak, and he's done a very nice job of protecting that second serve, especially in the bigger moments. And he just hasn't dropped for a sustained period in this match.
And 14-15.
I watched his match in Brisbane where he lost to Riley Opelka. He couldn't get his rhythm that night, and I think it stayed with him a little bit. He just can't get a run at the rhythm. But I think that comes with intensity and movement and being light on your feet.
Advantage Djokovic.
He's played double the number of points on his second serve to Novak, and you do feel as though the cumulative pressure eventually will tell. World-class return.
Djokovic.
That just threw a little gasoline on the fire. Basavareddy trying to keep Djokovic at bay with a quick second serve. Eventually cracks for the first time tonight.
Fair to say the fire has ignited, Fitzy.
I hope you haven't been getting involved down there, Josh. You're not having any influence on that, are you?
No, absolutely not. I'm staying very neutral.
Good.
Left second service.
Probably sitting there wondering where some of these loose shots were in 2011, 13, 15 and 16. Really?
Oh, he'll be dirty, won't he? Just sitting there watching this. You're a funny guy.
Left for service.
There'll be at least a couple of those Norman Brooks on my trophy cabinet right now. Sorts of trouble already.
Oh, is he cramping?
Yeah.
30-15.
Cramping, Josh, you think?
Yeah, it looks very much like it, doesn't it? And as you know, those numbers back it up. The distance he's run, it's been a phenomenal effort, and you know, throw in the intensity, and this is a great shot of it here.
Well, this is just a young fella covering court, isn't it? Something he's not so used to. Wow.
40-15.
Lot of runway ahead. Too far, you think?
Game and second set, Djokovic.
Well, it's a huge lift in every single way. Scoreboard, but also the physical discomfort that his opponent's in. It was always going to be a factor. Just didn't realize it was going to come this quickly.
Calf as well, but he wasn't. He had his thumb in his quad, didn't he?
Yeah, it was just trying to manipulate the quad area and stretch out the leg. So you know, it looked like it was an assessment for a quad injury. So yeah, we'll see as this goes on.
So not a pre-existing injury. That's why he can get it treated, right?
Yes. You can see those numbers quickly at the bottom of your picture, right? Drop off from the American and an uptick from Novak from the opening set.
Yeah, that's more like it. And Mark, I know you've got you got your numbers up there. How does that equate with Novak sort of in the last season or two, now that he's pushed it up over 120? Is that more in line with the sort of speed we've seen in the past year or two?
I'll let you know, Josh.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, maybe even a little touch higher. Back to his 2023 season, 117, he was sort of knocking it in. And those speeds haven't changed dramatically for Novak over the years. The one big change, of course, we've seen is with the ball toss with Goran, but also the willingness to go after big second serves. He was getting, he felt, dominated with the little kicker on the ad side. So that was the big shift that came in for Novak, speed-wise. Two men in front, in charge of Novak's physical conditioning, which is peak.
Djokovic.
Quick start, could be a quick finish, to be honest.
Third set.
It's also, you got to wait around all day. He's got to carry those nerves and tension all day. When you're on the Challenger Tour, you don't play a lot of matches at prime time at 7 o'clock at night. A lot of them are scheduled early, 11, 12 o'clock in the day. So it's a different feeling, a different experience, having to entertain and yourself all day until you have to come up and perform at 7 o'clock. So it's a lot of those emotions that you have to manage, and maybe they've just caught up with him a little bit here.
$15.
It's just different visually now, isn't it? Totally different.
13.
Yeah, not just visually, but also look at the pace. He's back up to where he normally is in set 3. He was still a little low in set 2, but we saw how the backhand was doing a lot of the damage. Now the forehand coming to bear. $15.
Djokovic.
Well, it's a game of movement. If you can't get into position well enough, you're not balanced.
2 games to love.
becomes a whole different ball game.
Basavareddy has got not too many options here. He is going to have to try and get on the front foot a little bit more and try and shorten these points.
39.
That will help his cause. Some decent, well-placed first serves. Don't often see that, and that's a little bit of a tribute to the way that this man has played this match, is that Novak was guessing to the forehand side and got beaten hands down to the backhand.
Good young man.
Flawless holder serve. Gets his side of the scoreboard moving in the third. 2-1 Djokovic.
Djokovic leads 2 games to 1.
Turbocharged backhand as Turbo looked on there. This man may not make billions in his career, but I'm pretty sure he's going to make a few million, Fitzy. Based on what we've seen. This man here is, well, he may well have made $1 billion. He certainly made close to 200 million in prize money alone.
Well, officially it's telling me 185 US. That is by far the most out of anyone that's ever played the sport.
And every dollar earned. And the passion is burning brightly once again. Well, it was a little subdued for a while from the Serbian fans, but they're in good voice now. Their man very much on the ascendancy. And a wounded opponent down the other end. The absence of alternatives may just make it a little bit easier for Nishesh to do the right things that can combat the cramps that he's feeling. She loves Novak as much as he loves trophies. 99 of them. It was a typical teenager's room, that, wasn't it, Fitzy, that we saw there at the changeover?
I would say.
You've had your kids. You would have walked in a few bedrooms looking worse than that.
Oh yeah, got a second grandson coming in 1 week today.
Congratulations.
We're very excited. They bring a lot of joy. I hope you experience it one day, Mark. Their first one's been just beautiful.
Well, now you've got a taste for it. When I do have one, I'll pop them on a plane down to Australia and you can look after it, Fitzy.
Well, the terminology down under is you're going to handball. Is that right?
All right. Yeah, I'm going to handball you from London.
You are not a very good grandfather, potentially.
Got to get them travelling at an early age. Good for their development.
At 13-15.
Novak travelling with his family. Stefan Toro was actually in the ocean the other day. Toro was on a surfboard, as was Yelena. missed it. Can you believe it?
40-15.
Well, before the start of this match, yes, I could have. Now he's been so impressive, this young lad, that I am surprised he missed that one. Snuck in well, didn't he?
Game Djokovic. Djokovic leads 3-1. Love.
Yeah, he's starting to expand this game. He's feeling very comfortable out there now.
15-all. At 30-15.
Oh, there's Novak. Now he's got the body language that
30-all.
I think was just a little bit scarce in the first few sets.
Oh, somehow he still made that look like he was searching for the ball on the stretch. But a little flick of genius. He definitely had that one in his locker too.
Oh, there we go. That's a talented volley. And I see you nodding in the box here, Mark. That takes some extra bit of talent and feel, especially for a young player. He adapts here and opens the face, has to break his wrist here to get the angle. Look at that. And due applause. That's high praise from Novak.
Stays in the conversation. And that was an impressive hold. Could have gone the other way easily. Djokovic 3-2.
3-2.
Well, one thing you probably don't doubt when they're just 19 years of age is that they're going to come out here and leave it all on the court. But he's done that, doing it and the longer he can kind of stay out here, the better it is for him. I think the bald girl is running over to try and get something from the team. Saw Brian Smith just go away for a moment, but it doesn't look as though he brought anything back apart from a bit of information. Shanth, his older brother. Year-old keeping himself close to Novak in this third set, on the scoreboard at least. Whether he can from a physical standpoint, we'll see. Serve kept him in front in that particular game, but he's not making much of an impression on the returns for the time being. Novak, who last year, of course, became the 5th player to complete the career Golden Slam in singles by winning that Olympic gold against Alcaraz in Paris. Andre Agassi, Steffi Graf, Rafa and Serena, the other players that have achieved that particular feat. It is elite company. Multiple winner of every single individual event bar the Olympic gold.
Well, he's found his range on the backhand, hasn't he?
15 long. Long.
Josh, no signs of the leg again. I mean, that was a strange sort of intermission, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's. I think it's just a real sense of panic initially when it came over his body. That I think it was a cramp, or we think it's a cramp, but he was able to settle down, and he's certainly not moving anywhere near like he was, though. He's certainly slowed significantly, especially on end range.
Yeah, no chase there either. He was reaching balls like that in the first set and a half, 2 sets.
Djokovic. New balls, please.
Another simple hold.
Djokovic leads 4-2.
59,000 fans coming in during the day session today. And once again, a full house here.
Love.
Well, it is a tough miss on the overhead, but ultimately when you start digging a little deeper into some of the stats here, unreturned serves, he's having to play an awful many more points than Djokovic tonight. Just 20% of his haven't come back compared to over 50% for Novak. And despite it looking easy at times for him to score winners down the line with that backhand, it isn't.
The deal.
Already coming out on top of that point, but he has had to work hard. We talked about the distance that he's run, and you can see why. Behind his first serve, almost 5 shots in terms of average rally length. Novak down closer to 2. Bit of a wild miss from Novak. Keeps the American competitive in this third set.
4-3.
Doing everything you can to A, fuel the body, but B, just be close enough to Novak in case there is any sort of brittleness from the world number 7. You wouldn't expect it to come. He doesn't have to play sort of red line tennis to keep this man at bay at the moment. There was a moment after he won that Olympic gold in Paris that you just wonder whether that was going to be enough for Novak, having done absolutely everything. There's been a lot of players who perhaps have left mid-rally, retired a little too young from tennis, but at that stage you kind of felt, well, he's done everything. Trophy cabinet's full, there's nothing else to squeeze in there. Where does the motivation come from? Well, it comes from the rivals, and it comes from the youngsters. And he is committed to a full schedule this year.
Yeah. The great ones think differently too.
15 love. Love.
He's moving through these service games like you were that ice cream before we came on air, Fitzy.
Oh, don't tell everybody.
Well, I kept it singular.
That's not fair.
Djokovic.
Semi-true. I saw Josh Eagle completely make up a story in his interview last night with Nishesh Basavareddy, by the way. Completely made it up. Threw Misha under the bus.
No.
You didn't completely make yours up. I got to admit, there was just a small amount of truth.
Oh dear. He's looking much better, isn't he? It's amazing.
No. Answer a question. Don't start like segueing away from that, Josh.
No.
Did you or did you not make it up?
Anything up. Fitzy, you were delirious yesterday.
I saw the look on Nishesh Basavareddy's face. The poor guy, you threw him under the bus.
Love.
He's still playing very impressively, the young guy, though, isn't he? I mean, yes, it looks different now, and the feeling you have now is that he's probably not going to win this, but he's still playing his fair share of really high-level stuff.
At 49.
Yeah, and again, he just throws in something just a little bit different, and it catches Novak off guard. But he is, Djokovic, just one game away from going up 2-1.
Leads 5-4.
It has been a little surprising, Josh, that he hasn't made more of an impact on the return in this third set.
Yeah, I think so. I think he... Yeah. I can't answer that question.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting from a point of view looking more at Nishesh and his career and where he goes from here, that he's been able to sort of keep Novak at bay. Obviously, we're going to get more data as Novak goes through the tournament, where's his games at. But the fact is, it could be that the American has one of those awkward little serves that isn't easy to get into.
Yeah, quite possibly. And yeah, look, I think with these great players, we saw it a bit with Zverev last night. He wasn't at his best, but I think the key for Novak, and maybe he wasn't at his best early on and against Nishesh, but it's just a matter of not doing too much damage in these early rounds and just getting through it. So, yeah, let's see what transpires over the next little bit just here.
Melbourne Park is an oil painting as we look down on it, and the redevelopment of this area of Melbourne has been simply exquisite.
How long's your visa for?
It's for 3 months, actually, Fitzy. And I spoke to your wife today, and she said we're absolutely fine. I've got another couple of months on it, and I'm looking forward to hanging out.
Oh, great.
Don't have my credit card, unfortunately, but I've got my personality, and I'm parking myself there.
Don't worry, mate. I'll look after you. It's okay.
his signature move. Trying to pump the brakes on the advance from Djokovic to go up 2-1.
Love 15.
All I want to know is how this lad lost any matches at college level. How is that possible?
Could he? It took Djokovic at his very best to keep him at bay. That is a familiar sight at Melbourne Park. Well, in Novak's mind, I'm sure that he's thinking, you know, I win this point, therefore this set, and he ain't catching me.
Left second service. Third set. Djokovic, 6-4.
Djokovic releases the tension.
Love 15.
Actually, if anything, it feels as though he's dropped a little deeper there and is just extending the rallies
Love 30.
and the opening couple of points.
Left second service. Fifteen 30.
Well, I think it's safe to say he's in territory that he's never experienced before. He's into a fourth set.
Fifteen 40.
Really great.
First game, fourth set.
Just the kind of move that he wanted to make early on in this fourth set. He's probably had enough time out here on the match court, ticking towards 2.5 hours, Novak, and he'd like to run riot. Often in the opening rounds, of course, leads gun to tape. Hasn't been the case tonight. Had to pivot from a set down.
Love.
Novak's still getting to the ball with his 37-year-old legs.
Love.
Now it seems a little better than did earlier to me. I wondered, wasn't sure, but wondered if he was just a quarter of a step slow early on. But now he's still so balanced, what we're so used to seeing from him.
13-15.
And I'm sure less movement from the opposition is causing that. It makes his shots look a little bit better. Nishesh is now the one who's just half a step slow. Can't quite get into position as much.
Looks like it's going to be a successful first outing.
I was just going to say, he's earned his marbles tonight, hasn't he?
Yep.
Genius.
The winning account gets a nice early deposit. A quick question for both of you. If you were looking after Basavareddy, and he's 19 years old, at the start of his career, he's 104 in the world. Of course, you've got a ranking to take care of as the coach, to try and get him obviously into the next major. Top 100 should do it, but with protected rankings, maybe you need to be at 95. You've got some big tournaments over in the US. You've got the Dallas 500 that's been upgraded. You've got Indian Wells, Miami. But judging this performance and the physicality that's needed at this level, would you try and build in a period in the year rather than just doing an off-season training block to get him stronger at this age?
Fitzy, I know you're sitting on the fence there. You won't give us an answer.
He's looking uncomfortable.
No, I'd absolutely.
I'm getting him a cushion.
No, I know what my answer is. Go ahead, Josh.
Well, I would absolutely build in some dedicated training blocks, training weeks. He's young. He's 19. Look, I think it's fair to say he's going to have a pretty bright future. I would imagine if he can continue with this development, he could finish the season and top 50. So you would probably look at some of the season and go, well, maybe it could be the clay, or whether it's another surface that he wants to maybe miss a couple of weeks and potentially add in an extended training block in those periods. Yeah, but I definitely would have a big picture approach to this young kid. He's only 19. He's got a huge future.
Are you satisfied with that answer, Mark, by the way?
That's Josh's answer. I'm waiting for yours.
First of all, I'd look at his body now, see how he recovers from this. Well, we're assuming here he's probably not going to win this. So you look at his body, you go home, you assess. And you make sure that, first of all, the quad's okay. Because it seems like it is. But for him to back this 5-setter up with another 5-setter, he's not ready to do it. So, I mean, he's in his 4th set now. He's never been in one of those before. So, yeah, I think that there's a balance. I think he's got to take a little bit of time, get stronger. So he's finishing out, but he's got to play tournaments as well because they build strength. So he doesn't have to play 5-setters from now on in the next period of time. Get some matches in.
He needs some games in. It's 2-1 Djokovic and 2 sets to 1. I asked the question because I think historically tennis players are very loath to take time off in the middle of the season, but I think that it's a justifiable decision for somebody like this. But obviously his main bulk of points start coming on in July, where he started obviously playing at the Challengers, taking advantage of that accelerator program. And obviously this period he's now got no points coming off. You're at the start of the journey. There's nothing you want to do more. You want to build your ranking. It's a tough one to pull a player off the tour and saying we're going to spend, you know, 6 weeks actually not playing tournaments at this stage for the bigger picture. But I personally think it would be the most valuable thing he could do.
Yeah, matches though help build strength and give you match conditions. That's what hardens you up. You can practice a heck of a lot and then go into a match and feel badly done by it physically. So I think, you know, we've been talking about his physical position and where he sits. He doesn't have to be ready yet this year to go deep into a major, but he has to have the feeling of playing at this level. I mean, he made a semi-final in Auckland, a feeling of playing at the ATP Tour level, I think, which is best of 3 sets, and continue to experience that, surely. That'll help build his legs and his miles in his legs as well. But all of us, I think, would be silly if we thought he wasn't a player that's going to stay here for a long time. He's been so impressive. And good for him. Wow, what a night.
If you were to speculate, where do you think Nishesh finishes this season, end of 2025, both of you guys? What do you think his ranking looks like?
Honestly, I think if he gets inside 75, it's a good season. Might be conservative, but I think if you're going to sort of build for the bigger picture, take the right time off, try to build his game on top of the physicality, that would be a number I think at 20 years old he should be satisfied with.
As we all know, the computer has a ranking system that goes on, and then 12 months later it comes off and is replaced by the next year's result. I wonder how many points he has between now and, say, the US Open. The vast majority are since then, I'm assuming.
He has very few points coming off. He won a round at the Indian Wells Challenger in January last year. Of course, he was still at Stanford at this particular time studying data science and playing, and then he made final of a 25 in March. He made the semis of a Challenger in Little Rock in May, final of a Challenger in Bloomfield Hills, July, and then started probably August in Nebraska and Lincoln to pick up some good points, semis of the Challenger there. But yeah, from the US Open on is where the bulk of them came. He lost in the last round of qualies at the US.
So, Mark, I would also argue that it's more important for him to keep improving his game and not to worry about the ranking, really. Not for now. He's going to have a good ranking in the near future. I don't think he needs to be top 50 by the end of the year. I think he just needs to improve his game, and the ranking will take care of itself.
In the immediate future, he may be at 2-all in this 4th set. Denied.
That was an outrageous volley. That was so good. I mean, that... He just always delivers, doesn't he? Have a look at how good this volley was. I mean, I'm sitting courtside really close to this, and the way he gets it technically right out in front and sticks it, awesome. What do you think of that, Fitzy?
Brings tears to my eyes. Tears of joy. Gee, he didn't hear me say that, did he? I think it's a bird.
Advantage, Djokovic.
Oh, that is just world class. Once again, the silky skills, the timing. Seven Ks quicker than average serve from Novak, fired back past him.
Advantage, Djokovic.
A little extra effort, a little extra audio.
Djokovic.
The Novak roar.
Djokovic leads 3-1.
One of the best spot servers out there. May not be the quickest, but boy, is he accurate when he needs it. Time and time again.
Yeah, we've unearthed, not we, but the game has unearthed a good player here, hasn't it? Will be big for US tennis, I think.
That's going to buy a pretty nice house in Indiana. 4 ensuite bathrooms, gym.
Well, he can have his holiday house in Newport Beach, California.
Genius lob from back there.
40-30.
Seen some good lobs on this court in the past from people like Leighton Hewitt, Andy himself. But that was a shot of rare quality.
How subdued has the box been tonight? It's fantastic, isn't it? I think just a new experience for everybody, except for Rajiv, who's been through a lot. Rajiv Ram there, but
he was talking today about how they're just trying to keep it the same as they've always has done back in Indiana when he's been hitting with him since really 13 years of age. Said he was more than comfortable hitting with him at 13. He was good enough back then.
Wow.
Let's not forget that Rajiv won a couple of singles titles in Newport, so that's high praise. And we can see why he's given him that praise tonight. Not going anywhere, trying to extend his stay on the Rod Laver Arena court and in Melbourne. One thing he's never actually done, Novak, is win a major without dropping a set. It's not an easy feat. Rafa managed it 4 times to the French. Federer managed it once here in Australia. In fact, the only man that's ever won it on a hard court without dropping a set in 2017. Also won Wimbledon in the same year without dropping a set. Once again, Novak making life as uncomfortable as he can and as complicated for his opponent as he can, to the delight of his fans. It's 4-1, 4-7.
Djokovic is 4 games to 1.
He's done well to sustain. Basavareddy in this match, I think, physically, to at least given himself a chance there. Of course, he had a little mini opportunity to go to 2 apiece, but this man has been in this kind of place so many times, and again on a big point, just knuckled down. Great defense.
And made him play a difficult ball.
Yeah, through the middle of the court, gave him no angles, did he, to work with. Josh, you watch a point like the final one that we just saw in that last game, and it just kind of reminds you, doesn't it? Some play the game and some change it, and Novak's defense, his open stance defense, has changed it.
It's extraordinary. Yeah, the open stance and then to change direction of the ball to go down the line. He's the best at it, best I've ever seen. And what you can do with that is you can turn, defense into attack so quickly, and then throw in the fact that the quality of the depth of shot as well.
And the other thing I love about it is the footwork pattern from Novak. Yes, he can hit open stance. You see so many players hitting open stance backhands. It's almost sort of like their DNA. They don't hit anything else. You watch that last rally. If he's got a chance of going parallel with his foot and getting his right foot into the court, he does.
Well, that transfers his weight even more. It's an extra tick.
Hit the ball earlier.
Yeah.
Out in front of you. Get in there. So many players will be hitting that open stance, coaxing it back cross court.
About the only thing we really haven't seen him do a lot tonight is finish at the net. We've seen it a few times, but sometimes early rounds at the Aussie Open over the years we've seen him push forward a lot more than we've seen tonight. Of course, he probably hasn't been allowed,
49.
given the start from Basavareddy. But I'll be interested to see what Andy, what Andy brings to the game in terms of extra dimension and extra add-ons in his game moving forward.
Game Djokovic.
I think it's a good point, Josh, Max, because in the early rounds, you want to keep the matches as short as you can, really. You don't want to leave too much out there. I mean, if you've got to play 7 in a row to win over 2 weeks, it's a tough physical gig. So I was wondering earlier whether he might think this is a bit longer than he would have thought ideal to be on the court in the first round, but he had no choice. So coming forward can shorten those points in the early rounds.
Love 15.
Yeah, a little desperation around that second serve. Look at this when Basavareddy gets off the court here. He's going to have a look at that little number, 5-8. He has been absolutely dominated, 3-1 by Djokovic. Done pretty well in the longer form and shorter form. But one thing that's been kind of slipping by here, guys, is just how well Novak has served in terms of aces. 21 aces from Novak, and just having a little look at his career, that is going to put him at 6th best in terms of total number of aces in a match. Twice at the Australian, he's had some numbers in the 20s. His best ever was against Tiafoe back in 21. That was a 4-set match with a couple of tiebreaks. 26 there. Jack Draper at Wimbledon in the same year, 25. Zverev in Australia in 21. That was a quick year, wasn't it? Those conditions. 23 there against Rafa at Wimbledon in 18. He put in 23. And Del Potro in that epic semi-final in 2013 over 5 sets, 22. This has been a good display from him. You were saying, Josh?
Yeah, he's listening. The man can do it all, can't he? He can play and he can listen to the commentary as well.
30-14.
We should be sitting in the coaching box. Murray and Djokovic about to get their first win together as a duo.
Basavareddy. Use. Advantage, Djokovic.
Statement shot. And like so many of them here at Melbourne Park, untouchable.
He's still pumping his arm when he wins that point to save match point.
Advantage, Basavareddy.
Just misses. Can't quite put the final bit of polish on this performance. Basavareddy just grabs an extra game and keeps himself involved for a little bit longer. Again, he's excelled when he's had his back against the wall, and Novak has been coming after him. It was a slightly more adventurous game there from Novak than we've kind of seen in this final set so far. He's been precise, he's been consistent, he's pierced the defences when he's needed to. A couple of times he looked to wander in behind the return.
Time.
Two minds are better than one. Maybe that is going to be the difference maker here at Melbourne Park this year. There's obviously some solid teams out there. Darren Cahill on the bag with Jannik Sinner, Juan Carlos Ferrero on Carlos Alcaraz's bag. Murray for the first time looking after Djokovic at a tournament. In what is a little bit of a milestone moment for Novak, as he will match Roger Federer in the Open era in terms of Grand Slam singles matches played. It'll be his 429th, equal with Roger. He has won, if he wins tonight, 378 of them.
Have you got Roger's number that he won or not there?
Love 30.
Because it's...
You can ask and you will receive, Fitzy.
Oh, you're such a font of knowledge. I love it. Amazing numbers, aren't they?
That is an amazing win-loss number, isn't it?
15-30.
It's just at Grand Slams.
Roger coming in with 369 wins.
Pretty close.
But no cigar. And there's no question that longevity has a big bearing on legacy. And this man's legacy set in stone, as surely the result is now.
Thank you. Ready for play. Advantage, Djokovic. Cain, set the net, Djokovic. 3 sets to 1, 4-6, 6-3, 6-4, 6-2.
It's a 23rd ace to seal the victory for the 10-time champion in Melbourne. Early success for the new team. A little discomfort on the scoreboard for Novak, a little physical discomfort for his opponent at the back end of the second set, and that really ultimately was the difference to some degree. For a little period he was able to wrestle control of the match. Basavareddy though, Fitzy, has won some fans over here tonight.
Well, I guess saying he's here to stay is a bit of an understatement. It may not be every week in the near future, but as time goes on, and that's because he's got a young body, he might have to manage it a little bit. But what a night for him. What a night that he experienced. He will never, ever forget it. No matter how many matches he plays, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of them, he won't forget that one.
He's going to be very happy with that part of his game. Some excellent deliveries. And maybe that's the one thing that Murray's going to bring to this. As a British fan that has followed him over the course of his illustrious career, he put us through a few roller coasters, there's no question, early on, and the Serb fans won't be thanking him for that. But it was a successful first venture out for the two of them.
He did enough in the end, didn't he? But no, he was... Look, I don't know how many I'd give him out of 10 for the first 2 sets. But, what do you think? Somewhere between 6 and 7?
Yeah.
I think
more
that's
6 for him by his high standards.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think he was probably shocked a little bit by this young guy who really did... you know, surprised not only him but everyone, I think, in the stadium. Certainly, I think we were surprised, pleasantly so.
It's actually the only 8th time that he's ever dropped a first set in an opening round at a major. Here he is with Josh Eagle.
Novak, congratulations and welcome back here on this court that you've had so much success. Difficult start, but boy, you turned that around. That was a great performance in the end.
Yeah, in the end it was great, and I think he was a better player for set and a half, and he deserves every bit of applause that he got when he was exiting the court. It's a great performance. To be really honest with you, I've never seen him play up to maybe 3-4 days ago, so you know, I didn't know much about him, and you know, these kind of matchups are always tricky, always dangerous. I mean, you're playing somebody that has, you know, nothing to lose. Obviously, first match ever for him at the Grand Slam level, and just a very complete player. Just he did very pleasantly surprise me with all of his shots, with fighting spirit towards the end. So I wish him all the very best for the rest of his career.
Hear, hear. Novak, one thing's for certain, you may not have seen him play, but I can guarantee he's seen you play. What was it like playing against a guy who, on his WhatsApp profile pic, he has a picture of you? What was that like?
I don't know what to say to that, to be honest. You know, I obviously try not to think about those particular things when I'm on the court. But I do appreciate the support and appreciation if that's how I'm supposed to get that. He's a nice boy. I mean, he's a teenager still. I think if he keeps going this way, honestly, like as I said, he didn't get carried away by the significance of the moment. You know, it's not easy stepping out on the center court for the first time and handling the nerves and all. I mean, he's handled himself really, really well. So, I'm sure we'll see a lot of him in the future.
And Novak, there's been so much talk. It was great to have Andy Murray courtside, and I'm not so sure. A different experience for you, but I just want to ask, there's been a ton of questions about that relationship, but did you get to see Andy Murray ski in the off-season? Did you see his skiing skills?
No, not really. Actually, I saw what everybody else saw on the social media. You know, he's had a post about, that questionable curve that he made with his skis, and it was his first skiing experience, so we kind of joke around about it, but it's all business now for us. You know, I'm obviously thrilled to have him in my corner. I must say it was a little bit of a strange experience, to have him right courtside in my box. You know, we played for over 20 years against each other on the highest level, and great to have him on the same side of the net. And he gave me some great advices, mid-match. I think it's really good that we have an opportunity now to have allowed coaching on the same side, so we can exchange some feedback basically, and we can get our coaches to tell us what they really see from side of the court. And it's a completely different angle and perspective when you're watching from the side, and he's been doing really well. And it's been an enjoyable experience. Hopefully we don't stop here.
We hope so too. Novak Djokovic, congratulations into the second round, mate.